Hey, everybody, I just knocked something over. Welcome to Game Mess Mornings with me, Jeff Grubb, your host from giantbomb.com. Thank you for tuning in. In this episode, we're going to be talking about yet another new game that came out of nowhere to earn rave reviews. Battlefield 6 reviews are in, and maybe we shouldn't require companies to store our government IDs on a server just so hackers can steal it. It's going to be a good one because we have Jan Ochoa on the show. Jan, how are you doing?
I'm enraged, Grubb. I'm enraged for a story that we'll see later today. I've actually been fuming about it and wallowing in it because I am so incensed, Grubb.
Yep. And there's multiple of those today, so it'll be a fun one.
Yeah,
as
take
always.
Your pick, everyone. Which one is it?
Dealer's choice, absolutely. Golf Week's going well. I think
It's
Golf Week's going well, Jan.
It's going great.
We're holding up our end of the bargain for keeping this week feeling good vibes. I did some PGA Tour this morning, and that game's good. It's a good game. It does what it needs to do.
Yeah, you know what game is not good, though, Grubb?
No, what's that?
Everybody's Golf.
It's not good. It's not good. Everybody's Golf Hot Shots specifically. The latest one, not made by Clap Hands. I did download, God, I can't remember that. Easy Come, Easy Golf, which is the new one from that team that was Everybody's Golf. Before that they were Hot Shots. Later they were Clap Hands Golf. That's Clap Hands, the studio doing it. You can tell it's very much made for mobile, but it's a much better game than Everybody's Golf Hot Shots for sure. It really is quite good. Even though it's like, I think a lot of the main modes are like, hey, here's 3 holes and you have to have a team of golfers. And so one golfer does one hole and you kind of have to strategically decide who's going to do what. It's interesting. But it's, it probably wouldn't be my first go-to golf game right now. There's so many classic hot shots that I just actually haven't played. Maybe I would go to one of those instead.
But, however, shouts out to the Game Informer crew, Van Aken and Van Allen, for going up against you and Dan yesterday. That was a very fun time. Hey, I just want to say this. Those dudes are funny as hell.
Oh, they're great. Yeah, we'll do a lot more with them as long as they're willing to lose, because we won't.
We could also do a co-op thing. Maybe, Grubb, hear me out.
That'd be great.
Let's just do a Games Media-wide peak stream.
Oh, yeah. Because we can have like a lot of players on that multiplayer version, right?
Exactly.
The mod can support like up to 16 people or something.
And then we just try and race. Like, we could just have teams of 3, 4. Go up the mountain as they go. There's kind of funny. There's Min-Max, Nextlander, Game Informer.
Let's get to work. Let's make this happen. That would be a lot of fun. Golf Week does continue later today, everybody. We're going to do some Nintendo Switch Sports Golf right after this. We'll have to get set up for that. And it'll be a little bit after Game Mess Mornings because we're gonna let Dan get back from something. He's out on assignment. And then tomorrow will be Mario Golf. We'll do some of that after Game Mess Mornings. And then UPF will be actually like it's a 2-parter. So today Nintendo Switch Sports Golf, and then for UPF we're doing everybody's. It's not everybody. It's the
golf together.
Yeah, golf together, golf with friends,
golf with friends.
That's what I mean. All these different golf games in my head, and we're going to take the scores from that, combine them to see who is the winner of Golf Week. So definitely stick around today. It's going to be a good time.
This is a question for my anime freaks out there. I know that there are a lot of sports animes out there, volleyball, boxing, basketball for sure, tennis.
Golf.
Is there a golf one?
There's got to be. Golf is huge in Japan. Yeah,
okay.
Definitely. I feel like there's like the traditional one of like a kid is going to be on the golf team in his high school or something like that. Yeah.
Birdie Wing. I asked and I've been answered.
There you go. All right, everybody. Yeah, Birdie Wing. That's a good name. I think I saw that. I think there's a game of that on Switch, actually. Interesting. Let's explain what we do here. We're Giant Bomb, video game doofuses, independent games media. We're out here on our own, but we're not, because we have you at our backs, because you went to giantbomb.com/join, became a premium member. And we are so grateful to everyone who has done that. It has gone a long way to making sure we can keep doing all the stuff that we do here, while also getting you ad-free shows, getting you some extras, getting you some goodies here and there. But really, it's all about supporting independent games media, and you have come through on that. If you haven't, if you want to join, again, that's giantbomb.com/join. You become a premium member. It's something we notice, we take seriously, we really appreciate it. If you can't you can't swing that right now, it's Golf Week. If you can't swing that right now, We understand. Never do it if you cannot afford it. We never would want you to do that. So just tell a friend instead. Like, that goes just as far in a lot of ways, and it means a lot to us. And again, we notice these things and we appreciate it.
Go get a sugar daddy.
That's yes. Oh yeah. If you're a sugar daddy, you should definitely be in there making it happen for us. As far as this show goes, most weekdays, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings, or find the RSS feed on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with Battlefield 6 reviews. 85 on OpenCritic Jan with only 18 reviews. I think the embargo lifted 10 minutes ago. So I kind of threw this in here as we're going. I have this, but I haven't had a chance to check it out. I did. Christian was playing it as well, and he played the single player campaign and thought it was pretty laughable. And that's kind of a lot of the responses here is, look, it's at best a serviceable campaign, boilerplate, very easy to ignore, which I think is probably not too surprising to people these days to hear about a shooter campaign in one of these big multiplayer shooter games. But Dalton Cooper over at Game Rant gave it a 9 out of 10. Excuse me, 9 out of 10. It said Battlefield 6 is an explosive first-person shooter with adrenaline-fueled multiplayer that is truly Battlefield at its best. Got a 9.5 out of 10 from But Why Though, who says Battlefield 6 is a giant leap forward for the franchise, returning to the peak of online first-person shooters. And then an 8 out of 10 from Austin Souther at Tech Raptor, who says Battlefield 6's campaign features a short and disappointing story filled with military jargon and not much else, but the multiplayer is the real highlight here. Multiplayer will absolutely keep players addicted with its strong progression system, vast maps, and outstanding gunplay. We had a good idea that this game was going to deliver based on those betas. People seemed really happy with it then. I had a good time with it. I'm not usually a Battlefield person. Had a good time with it. Still probably not gonna be spending a ton of time with this, but we'll do a couple of streams, and I'm sure I will continue to have fun with it when we play together. But it does. I mean, to me, it sounds like this game delivered what it needed to deliver to have a chance to really keep Battlefield in a circle of relevancy. I don't know. What do you think?
Yes, Grub. I mean, the story that you talked about with Matt Piscatelli yesterday about Call of Duty even being worried about Battlefield 6's popularity is pretty telling, because I feel like the last couple Battlefield titles haven't been that much of a worry for Call of Duty at all. Not. I think it's fairly interesting and a little disappointing that the single player campaign is just so lackluster, as people have been pointing out. But honestly, if it means that they are just putting most of their efforts into the multiplayer, which we all know people are picking Battlefield 6 up or a Battlefield game up entirely, is for the multiplayer because of the shenanigans that will ensue. But I'm glad that hype from the open beta has carried over to the actual release. That being said, Grub, I feel internally conflicted because it is an EA game, and with everything going on with EA, it kind of sours. It puts a sour taste in my mouth.
Yep, it's definitely a little bit easier to put a game like this now that EA is in the process of becoming owned by Saudi Arabia. Of course, that deal's not going to close for a very long time, but whatever. That does. Who cares? That's not really of interest to to us. We get what's happening here, and so it becomes, like I said, easier for me to find an excuse to play a different game rather than this. I'm right there with you on that. At the same time, it's like, I'll check the stuff out for the job, and
of course,
and maybe I'll have a good time. And it's like a lot of people worked very hard on this, and they didn't have any say on what happened to it, but still, like I can't help the way I feel, which is very similar to what you feel, Jan. I think the question for Battlefield 6 now is, look, you had to have a strong start. Like it does seem crucial to a game like this. Whereas other games can sort of like build their way back up. Battlefield 6 is playing in the biggest of the big leagues. It's trying to compete with Call of Duty. And so you actually can't have any missteps, because you can't be trying to make up ground to like, hey, this game actually delivered in the end. Yeah, that's fine. This game's trying to do Call of Duty numbers. So it had to have a strong start, and it does. So then there is now a second battle. Can you have long-term support for something like this? Can you make people feel good about spending money on microtransactions? What does that look like for an audience that's made it very clear they do not want SpongeBob? They don't even want someone wearing like a slightly colorful shirt in the game. So it's like, how do you sort of convince that audience to spend money while making it appealing to a broader audience? Because that increases the pool of likely people who might spend money on your game. It's going to be challenging for them to figure that out, but they at least are starting with a sort of pole position here.
Yeah, I think it is going to be hard to sustain themselves without embracing the skin economy. I mean, again, that was a big story yesterday with 2XKOs, $100 skin packs. And I feel like Call of Duty was trying to ride that line for the longest time, Grub, but then you see any Call of Duty clip or a person that streams Call of Duty actively, and any of the skins in that game are absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
Because you'll see Rambo, and then you'll see Nicki Minaj, and then you'll see the Donnie Darko rabbit. I think that was a skin in the game. I think I could be confusing it with like a different game that looks exactly like Call of Duty, but who knows? I think Groot was in the game as well.
That sounds right. Yeah, Groot and maybe Rocket Raccoon. Yeah, listen, I like seeing Beavis and Butthead in there. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I would like to see that in Battlefield 6, but again, we have already said, like, this is not necessarily the game for us, and they don't have to win us over, but I think EA is like, well, yeah, but if we can keep the core audience happy and then also win over everyone else, that's where we really want to be, and that will be where the tension comes from for this game and the relationship between the studio and the audience, and that is all yet to be seen, like how that's going to play out. But again, they have started from a position of strength, which will make everything sort of easier. But that doesn't mean they won't trip and fall and find some way to mess this up. But it's a difficult business that they're in.
And again, I know that I acknowledge the whole Saudi Arabia buying EA thing, but there are like an obscene amount of talented developers that have worked on this game, and I hope that they do get their flowers, and it seems like they are based off of these reviews.
Yep. It's always challenging to navigate this. Again, at a certain point, I sort of just like default to, I feel the way I feel and I can't help it, and I'm sorry if that's annoying to some people. That's just the way it is.
Maybe we'll get Riyadh Comedy Festival skins.
There we go. That's the dream right there. Bill Burr just in there telling jokes that won't upset the Saudi Arabian government. Absalom reviews. Absalom. Or Absalom? I'm not sure how to say it, Jam. The reason I'm talking about it, though, is this has got an 88 on OpenCritic. Higher than Battlefield 6 with almost double the reviews. I think it had something around 36 reviews, which would actually be exactly double the reviews that Battlefield 6 has. 9 out of 10 from Steve Watts at GameSpot, who says, and this is, I put this one first because it explains what it is, infusing a classic beat-em-up structure with a modern roguelike loop is a match made in heaven. This is a Streets of Rage 4, the people who made that, Dotemu and Guardbreak, who I think Dotemu like worked with Lizard Cube on the art, but Lizard Cube's not involved in this one, but the art still looks good. And then Guardbreak did the combat system in Streets of Rage 4. Streets of Rage 4 eventually got a roguelite mode into it. It sounds like they took that, made it an entire game just without Streets of Rage 4 stuff, and kind of like redoing the art and having new characters and things like that. And then built it out and made it even better. And yeah, that's a very, very high score. A lot of 9s, some 9.5s. And then the people who aren't giving it a 9 or 9.5 basically just point to the roguelite side of being like, I don't like these kinds of games, so I don't like this as well. We'll talk about that here in a second for one of these reviews. But I am now very curious in this. It's got curious about this. It has 2-player co-op, and it looks phenomenal. 9.5 out of 10. From PlayStation Universe, that's Gary Bagdasarov over there, who says, an absolute treat that kept me coming back for more. Absalom does a lot right, and it's all due to the hard work of Dotemu and Guard Crush's previous efforts. With incredible combat, stunning visuals, and a soundtrack that packs so much variety, it's hard to imagine how Dotemu can top themselves after Absalom. And then 7 out of 10 from Adrian Burrows at the 6-Axis, who says, if I could have Absalom without the roguelike elements, and admittedly a few less glitches, then I would have my ideal 2D side-scrolling beat-em-up, the best I've ever played. As it is, the roguelike structure and its inconsistent delivery unfortunately lowers the overall experience. It's still a very enjoyable game, even with these issues, but this was so close to being a classic of the genre. And it's like, yeah, at a certain point, it's like, yeah, people feel the way they feel about it. I get that. This doesn't actually. It's very informative for me. I do like roguelikes. Roguelikes. I think that is a genre that should just be a staple of gaming. Where hey, everyone looks around and says, hey, we're getting a ton of these. Why are we getting so many of these? And I say because it rules, and we should be getting this many. We should be getting Hades 2. We should be getting this all around the same time as a million other ones from indie developers, and roguelike modes being inserted into all kinds of games like God of War. It's a good thing. And I am going to check this out, and I'm pretty excited about it. What do you think about this, Jen?
Yeah, Grub, I'm 100% with you. I mean, we saw an influx of battle royale games, so let's flood the market more with more roguelike games.
That's right.
I'm looking at a trailer for Absalom. For folks out there that are by a computer, I highly suggest you do, because this game visually bangs. Also, they've got a cool dwarf character. I'm always down with that.
Oh, yeah. Every time.
Dotemu is one of those devs that just absolutely nails visual stylings all the time. And it's kind of unfair. And this, folks, I think I've said this multiple times, but I wish this is just where video games were primarily focusing on in terms of like look. I don't care if a dude really, really, really looks like a dude, but if something looks like a cartoon in motion, that is more entertaining, at least more appealing for me personally. But this looks great. If the roguelike elements aren't necessarily that strong, but the beat 'em up side does sound good, I think that is enough of a hump for me to get over. Also, the fact that we could do this 2-player. We could do This Is the Run, but with this perhaps.
Yeah. Oh, that's actually not a bad idea. That would be a lot of fun. Yeah. And again, I think like Adrian here is just kind of saying like in general doesn't like roguelite elements when they're talking about it. Inconsistent delivery. I think it means like one run to the other. You don't feel as good on one run as you do the next. And it's like, for me, it's like, oh, that makes the great runs feel even better because they feel special. That's part of the appeal to me. So it's like, I think I'll have to see for myself, but I bet the roguelite stuff here is pretty solid. Again, this is a team that has done this before with Streets of Rage 4, and it was really good in that game. I've played that a bunch with family, and it's, I'm really glad that was the focus of their next game. It's smart to kind of build on that. And then you nailed it, Jan. Dotemu has now become one of these, it's a publisher and developer. They publish a lot of these games and do a lot of the work on that side, and then they kind of bring all these development studios together to work in conjunction and kind of just focus on their areas of strength, where it's like, hey, no, Guard Crush, you are great at combat. Guard Crush is, I think, this studio that they like were bad at art. So what they did is they like took pictures of their friends in front of a green screen and did like a digitized sort of like Mortal Kombat style thing, but with like really cheap looking people in cheap looking costumes for an excellent beat 'em up. I think that was them. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but I'm pretty sure that's right. And then people notice it's like, actually this combat owns.
Yeah.
They should be, we should build on top of that. And then they got the Streets of Rage 4 job, I think, based on that. And now it's like Dotemu's going back to them over and over again, be like, you guys are really good at this. Don't worry. We got the art handled by someone else. And to me, it's like, this is a great strategy for where an indie game publisher for like Dotemu should be. And now they've consistently delivered over and over again with different combinations of studios. It is really impressive, and it continues to give me faith that this scene's really figuring things out in some areas. Obviously, so many games coming out, so many things fall through the cracks, absolutely. But at least someone's coming up with a strategy that feels different than, Devolver Digital or anyone else in the space.
Also, I know that a lot of devs were trying to get out, devs across the board in terms of scale, trying to get out of the way of GTA 6, and then trying to get out of the way of Silksong. I do like when a game is just going to drop, maybe not out of nowhere, but drop with enough confidence because like they know that they got that sauce.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. Jan, it's Streets of Fury. Could you actually, do you think you could get that up, like a YouTube video of that real quick and show people? Because it's so incredible. This came out in 2015 from Guard Crush. They self-published, they developed the game. God, we should actually go back and play this. I bet it's been played on Giant Bomb before, but I would like to play some more of it. And it has 4-player co-op beat 'em up. God, this is the kind of game that we should make. Right?
This, I believe the OG gang did play through this. I believe.
I bet they did. Yes, I would love to play some more of it. It just looks so cool. All right, let's see here while you get that. I'm going to get ready for the next story here. Nintendo says it's close to you Pikmin videos where Nintendo pictures short films rather than a game or movie teaser. This is from Chris Scullion at VGC. Nintendo has shed more light on the close to you videos it released this week, seemingly cooling expectations that they referred to an upcoming game or movie. On Tuesday, Nintendo posted the first close to you video with no explanation or description. Sorry, real quick. Yeah, just there you go, everybody. Look at this game.
This is not the Pikmin short. All right.
This is not the Pikmin short, and it's not Absalom. It is Streets of Fury, a game from some people that worked on Absalom from about 10 years ago. And it's, oh my God, the digitized Mortal Kombat style stuff is actually the best it's ever looked, while also using equivalent, like even cheaper costumes, and obviously just the developers' friends and stuff like that. Just like, hey, do we have like a fez and a scarf laying around? We'll put this guy in that, and we're good to go. Oh, it's incredible stuff. All right, really, the Pikmin story is close to you. That video that came out earlier this week of a Binky running around a room and a baby's like, oh my God, what's happening here? And then it was revealed the next day that Pikmin were sort of fighting over the Binky, and they were invisible to the humans. And it's like, oh, Pikmin were there the whole time. And we were all like, hey, what is this a tease for? What are they doing with this? And we were kind of saying there's a possibility there that maybe this is Nintendo Pictures. Nintendo acquired a studio, a film studio, a production company a few years back. Maybe this is that company kind of getting up to speed with Nintendo brands and kind of Nintendo's way of doing things and starting a new series of shorts, something that Pikmin's had before. Turns out it's exactly that. Now, we have a bunch of other ideas as well. So that was just one of our guesses. It's not like we were predicting exactly right. Although I think that was Mike's number one guess.
Yeah.
So shouts out to Mike for that. I think this is cool. I am not disappointed that this is not a tease for a full movie or a full game. I would have loved those things. I wasn't expecting Pikmin 5 anytime soon. So really, I was like never really getting my hopes up too high for that. I did get my hopes down low for maybe an update to Pikmin Bloom, although I like Pikmin Bloom. It's like, no, this is just Nintendo announcing to the world, hey, we are also making films now. And they're short films. This will probably play, or something like this will probably play before the Mario Galaxy movie when it comes out this summer. So, yeah, I think this is neat. What do you think?
100%, Grub. They have all these different IP that they may not necessarily be doing with that do appeal to younger audiences. So I know folks will buck up against this, but minionify as much of Nintendo as possible because, or they will minionify as much of Nintendo as possible.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with the success of the Super Mario movie. It is coming, y'all. Like, so just brace yourselves. I do agree with some people in chat. Keep more of the humans out of the Pikmin. I just want to see the Pikmin just doing miscellaneous things. Just rip off the Pixar short of the old man playing chess against himself and just do that, but with Pikmin.
Yes. I think the original Pikmin shorts had a little bit more of, like, I think the vibe people want, where they're just goofing off around a construction site and a bunch of weird stuff is happening and they're getting chased by monsters, and the yellow Pikmin are just doing their own thing, trying to like start up the engine on a big power steam shovel or whatever. That's a lot of fun stuff. I really enjoy that. I think they wanted to like stretch their legs a little bit here and do humans to show that they were capable of doing that. This was probably a proof of concept internally at Nintendo to a certain degree. And I think they've accomplished that. And now that they have, use the humans when it makes sense and maybe not any more Pikmin shorts.
Sure. Also, this is a good way to get people reinvested or interested for the first time, possibly in Pikmin. I know that there were a couple of my friends that had never checked out previous Pikmin titles, but when Pikmin Bloom came out, the Pokemon Go like game,
that's right.
they got really invested in that and then wound up checking out a couple other Pikmin titles. So I don't think this does that much harm to the Pikmin franchise.
Yep. Yeah. And I think this is like one of the ways Nintendo's like, hey, we do want to like brush up on our skills of on film production so we could be a multimedia company. That is important to us, but also like just want to like keep some of these IPs fresh in some other ways in between long development cycles for games. And like a lot of that is by design. That is, I don't think they're like necessarily even working on a Pikmin game right now. They are sparingly doing these things where it's like, hey, there's one Pikmin game per generation now. We're not going to do any more than that. We're not going to rush anything. So When we get back around to that, we'll be ready for it, but we are still going to have these like years-long gaps between games. What else can we do to kind of wrap these things in? It's like, well, Pikmin, we could drop a few Pikmin into the Universal Studios, Super Mario Land and stuff like that, Super Mario World, and that's fun, but what else can we do? And this feels like it's exactly right for them.
Nintendo, get on the phone, baby. Get ready to cut the check as well. You got 2 parks. You got one in Florida, you got one in LA. Make a Pikmin park, but it's really teensy.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's actually like a flea circus. that's fun. I would really enjoy that. Yeah, thinking. I'm like trying to figure out like when would another Pikmin game come out? I guess it could come out relatively soon. So, EPD 10 is the studio inside of Nintendo that works on the Pikmin games. They also do New Super Mario Brothers and Super Mario Maker. It's the Mario Brothers team. It's basically like the previous Miyamoto studio. But they did not like really do all of the work on the last one. Really, that was a studio called Aiding, like the number 8 ING. And they have done some like fighting games, I think, and other things. They were a work for hire studio, but they did really good work on Pikmin 4. I hope that they're able to just sort of replicate exactly what they did last time for that. And in that case, it's like sort of wouldn't matter what's happening with the 2D Mario games or Mario Maker or anything like that. They could probably, and I guess Super Mario Brothers Wonder, which would be this studio, came out a few years ago, so maybe they are like ready to get to work on a new Pikmin, and we could see that in like a year or two. Maybe see it, and then it comes out a little bit later. I don't know. All right, let's keep going here. Ubisoft reportedly canceled an Assassin's Creed game partly due to political concerns. This is from Andy Robinson at VGC. Ubisoft reportedly canceled an in-development Assassin's Creed game last summer, partly due to concerns over the political climate in the United States. According to current and former employees speaking anonymously to GameFile, that's Stephen Totilla's newsletter, the canceled game was planned to take place during the Reconstruction period that followed the American Civil War in the 1860s and 1870s. It's claimed that the Assassin's Creed game would have followed a black man who had been formerly enslaved in the South and moved west to start a new life. Recruited by the series assassins, he would return to the South to fight for justice in a conflict that would, among other things, see him confront the emergence of the Ku Klux Klan, according to interviews with 5 current and former Ubisoft employees. 3 of the employees told GameFile that the game was canceled last summer by Ubisoft management in Paris for 2 reasons. Online backlash around the reveal of Yasuke, a historically inspired black samurai in Assassin's Creed Shadows, and concern around the political climate in the United States. I was terribly disappointed but not surprised by leadership, one source told GameFile. They are making more and more decisions to maintain the political status quo and take no stand, no risk, even creative. Ubisoft's new Tencent-backed subsidiary officially started its first day of operation last week. It's going to focus on games like Assassin's Creed. Blessing said it on Blue Sky yesterday, cowards and bigots. And shouldn't be surprised that the leadership of Ubisoft are cowards and bigots, rewarding the people who are always saying DEI is going to lead to games getting canceled that have different ideas. Well, no, of course, that was projection. Of course, that was an admission of your own guilt that this is the kind of thing that you actually want. This sounds so awesome, so cool. And of course, we don't deserve it anymore because the world is a nightmare, Jan.
Grub, I've been marinating and stewing on this a lot. Like I said at the top of the show. We've all been very upset with the people at the C-level at Ubisoft for being absolute fucking dumbasses with every decision they make. And hey, lo and behold, they step on another rake and they just Scrooge McDucked into a pool full of rakes. These fucking chuds that are causing up such a storm online were never going to buy your game to fucking begin with.
No.
Yep. They don't fucking care about video games in the same way that people that are actually out there playing them do. This is going to be a wild correlation, Grub, but when you make something that appeals to a marginalized community or a group of minorities, you take something like Black Panther, you take something like K-pop Demon Hunters, you take something like the movie Sinners, and with enough love and care in appealing to the actual culture of who you are trying to tell a story of, that translates incredibly well to everyone else that it becomes not only a thing that people of that community can see themselves in, it can be something that winds up
globally appealing,
becoming globally appealing. And you, and then to just stop that because there are a couple people online that are being fuddy-duddies that have never had a fucking real life friend to begin with, and that these people actively hating themselves, actively hating the LGBT community, actively hating like any minority, actively hating women. Why the fuck are you appealing to them? They're not going to fucking spend their dollars to begin with. And those are the same people that would never buy a Ubisoft game at full price to start. Also, Assassin's Creed, you fucking fight the Pope in one of these games. What are you talking about over political concerns? The Vatican didn't fucking care. Maybe they did at one point, but the new Pope's completely fine with it. Ubisoft, what the fuck? Like, it doesn't make sense, Grub, because it's so fucking stupid.
It's stupid, and it's like, I mean, just acting from a position of being on your heels, of like just overreacting to every sort of input, and so to the point where it's like, there's no way this was Ubisoft executives' ideas for a game. This obviously would have come from people working on the game who wanted to do something bold and sort of like that would stand out and kind of be a little bit edgy, of like, hey, no, yeah, we're gonna let a black man go kill the KKK in our game, and kind of just stay and say, oh, okay, yeah, that's something we haven't seen a lot in video games. That would be cool, and that should be kind of the most we get, like most reaction you get out of that. Seeing the reaction to Yasuke and them being like, we have to sort of avoid this in the future. It's like, okay, so yeah, you are telling all of these people out there that they will get rewarded for for behaving this way towards you. You have guaranteed that they will behave this way towards you. And here's the thing, Ubisoft, they don't need an excuse that like, oh, there's a black man in a game, as if that's an excuse in the first place. It's not. So that should tell you the whole story. They are going to do this to you no matter what, because it worked. They are toddlers. They are just trying to get a reaction. They're trying to get noticed. They want to feel like they have political sway and importance. And one way they can do that is by being loud and annoying and making YouTube videos and getting other 12-year-olds upset and going out there. And then when the company reacts, that is just rattling the candy right there and saying, you did it. Here's some sugar. Try again. So they're going to show up and do this to you again, no matter what game you make. If it has a single woman in it, if it has a single person of color in it, if they are side characters, if they are over there. So are you going to make an all-white Assassin's Creed? Is that what we're talking about? It's obviously pathetic, but it's also just deeply misreading the strategic idea of let's avoid getting in trouble with these people in the future. You have done exactly what they wanted, so they are going to do it again.
Grub, like, 100% agreed. I could not agree with you more. Otherwise, my neck would hurt from nodding.
Right.
And also, fucking Ubisoft's neck's probably hurt from... I'm not going to finish that sentence. But as a person of color myself, from a minority, I don't often see myself represented in media a lot, right? I don't see a lot of Filipinos in TV, movies, video games. Anytime I see anyone brown, I latch on to that because there's parts of me that sees myself in that character. Like I loved Sinners because I saw a marginalized community fighting back, and I felt like I could be a part of that, and I again saw myself in that. And for as poppy as K-pop Demon Hunters may seem to some folks, and they may not take it seriously, there are so many little boys, little girls, children across the board that see themselves and see their culture reflected, that they don't have to be shy anymore about whatever their culture is. And for Ubisoft to now shut the door on all these people so willing to embrace a game and open the door for these stupid chuds that are going to make fun of them still for canceling this game. They're not going to celebrate and buy a Ubisoft game after this. Like, it is so upsetting. And it is just such a show of cowardice and like mismanagement across the board. I feel so bad for anyone at Ubisoft trying to rally together to keep morale together, keep some type of creative spirit going when people at the top are actively shutting them down.
Yep. Yeah. And Motor World Hype here with a super chat says, how much do we think this is a direct decision from Ubisoft C-suite or a call from Tencent? So according to the story, this was canceled last summer, like leading into the election even. So kind of just reading the tea leaves of what was happening politically in the United States, but also the reaction to Yasuke and Assassin's Creed. So they were informed by that. It would have been before the Tencent deal, but certainly as they were trying to put the Tencent deal together. So it sounds like a call by the Ubisoft C-suite in order to ensure there is not as many bold and brash headlines for them to worry about while they're trying to get Tencent to give them money, right? That they don't want to scare off their big investor. Again, cowardice. And again, it's a misreading of how this can work. If you are, if you're afraid of getting this reaction, you got to just actually get better at sort of presenting it. Like they're like movies have gotten to a point where this doesn't really happen in film anymore. Like the Fast and Furious films are famously diverse, and they're not exactly like masterpieces. They're great movies. I enjoy them. They're not masterpieces. So you don't have to like treat a diverse cast with like, special care and make sure we get their culture exactly right. It's like, no, just put a bunch of diverse people on screen, let them have fun making a movie, and people will see themselves in that. And the, Fate of the Furious was a global smash hit, like in China, across the world. It was bigger than Star Wars in many countries, the newest Star Wars movies that were coming out. It was massive. And it's like games should be treating that as the goal, but you keep being really poor at like executing on this in terms of saying like this is what the game is about and like making it clear. A big part of it is a lot of people making the games probably still aren't as diverse as the games that we see on the screen in a case of like Yasuke being in a game or something like that. And it's like, I bet if you got more diverse people behind the scenes guiding you on this, you wouldn't have as many of these problems as you continue to have at Ubisoft and some of these other publishers.
Also, have a fucking backbone.
Yeah, that's the biggest part. That's the thing I'm getting continuously sick of. All these stories, we keep getting to this point where we're furious because we are dealing with rich cowards, people who are protecting their wealth, and the way that they think the best way to do that is to say fuck it to everyone else and just protect their own. And it's just straight up cowardice over and over and over again. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, plenty of more headlines to get into, including, hey, maybe did your ID get stolen? Possibly. We'll talk about that and more right after this. If you want an ad-free version of this experience, there's a premium audio show. There's a premium video show. You go to giantbomb.com/join, become a premium member. We'll be right back.
Grub, I love podcasts, and I would like to listen to more of them.
Oh boy, I've got the podcast for you then, bud. Stage Select.
But Grub, I have trust issues, especially with podcasters.
Look, it's always important to be careful and safe about podcasters, but don't worry. Host Julian Titus and Justin Ham have over 16 years of combined podcasting experience, and the Stage Select is finishing up its second season at the end of the year.
Holy smokes, what a pedigree. Tell me more, Grub.
Oh, what about a video game variety show where the hosts act as if they're performing for a live studio audience?
Kind of like The Muppet Show. Do they have reoccurring characters, shenanigans, bits, and skits?
Oh, baby, we got bits. We got skits.
I love bits and skits. Is there more?
The show is designed to be unexpected, Jan. They'll go to space, sometimes a surprise game show. Expect the unexpected. Space!
Grub, I'm hearing that episodes 41 and 59 are fantastic points to get a vibe of the show. Julian and Justin are fiercely independent and do this for the love of video games and podcasts?
Oh yeah, they draw from the best, like the Giant Bombcast, Nextlander, Rebel FM, and No One Can Know About This.
Well, Grub, I'm glad I know about this podcast.
That's Stage Select. Give it a listen.
Bits and skits!
Stage Select is also Dan-proof. Welcome back to Game Master Mornings, everybody. I'm Janet Cho. That's Jeff Grubb. That's right. I'm always right. Yeah, you didn't know?
What happened?
Swerve even for him. Let's keep going here. One of 2025's most promising games is already winding down even before leaving early access. This is from Claire Jackson at Kotaku. Heart Machine, developer of 2016's hit action RPG Hyper Light Drifter, has fallen on hard times after the game's follow-up, the roguelike prequel Hyper Light Breaker, failed to resonate with players. Still officially in early access, the game will get some more attention from Heart Machine, but the studio has announced that it is winding down development and that members of the team have been laid off. We've had to make the difficult decision to part ways with a number of talented team members, Heart Machine said in a statement, attributing the challenges it's facing to broader forces beyond our control, including shifts in funding, corporate consolidation, and the uncertain environment many small studios like us are navigating today. Heart Machine was has hit bumpy patches in the past as well, with a previous round of layoffs implemented toward the end of 2024. Though it seems like Hyper Light Breaker might never be completed in the ways its creators once envisioned and hoped for, the studio is promising to issue an update in January to bring Breaker to some kind of finish line. The response to this game has always been kind of like, from a lot of fans, hey, I like Hyper Light Drifter. Breaker, I've tried to can't quite get over the hump, and it's something's wrong here, that I can't quite get into this game. And so the studio's been in early access trying to lock it in, and at the same time facing the realities of trying to make a game like this with a team of this size, which is extremely difficult. Jim, we talk about some of the success stories from the indie space and the .emus figuring it out or whatever, and the Devolver Digitals, and then even smaller studios figuring it out. What we're hearing though is, if you have a team of 20 to 40 people, 15 to 35 people in that range for an indie studio, it is extremely difficult to make that business model work right now. You have to sort of have a lottery ticket. And while Hyper Light Drifter was a really well-received game, a game that did very well, it was never in that top echelon of this is continuing to sell 100,000 copies every 3 months or something like that. And so they had to make a new game to make things meet, to make ends meet. And then in the meantime, that game is not coming together the way they need it to, or not as quickly as they wanted it to. And here they are. It's a brutal business to be in. It's not going to get any easier, right?
No, and the part that sticks out to me, Grub, is just the corporate shuffling that unfortunately has to happen, or winds up happening, I should say, at a lot of studios, where they can only do so much with what they're given, and if the funding isn't there because someone up top is just moving money in different ways or doesn't see the investment as something profitable, the rug can get pulled from underneath them at any time. And it really stinks. I never quite clicked with any of the games that the studio made, but I know that there are an obscene amount of people really interested, if not just in the game themselves, but also the look of them. Very visually distinct, very appealing.
Beautiful.
Bummer.
Discord responds to claims that 2 million ID photos have been acquired by hackers. This is from Alex Hopley at Game Reactor. As soon as age verification came about, people worried about how their faces could be used not only by companies and service providers, but by hackers and those that might look to make a quick buck by stealing and selling data. Now it seems we're seeing the first crack in age verification, as it's reported that around 1.5 terabytes of photos have been stolen from a third-party customer support system used by Discord. So their Zendesk stuff, I believe. Discord denies this claim, saying that, and this is the denial, saying that only 70,000 users have been affected, and all of them have been contacted. However, it does not admit that government IDs may have been included in the breach. Zendesk, the customer support system, says that its own systems were not compromised. A lot of back and forth here. Hackers are claiming that obviously they're trying to get a payout. Discord's like, hey, we're not going to pay these people for breaking the law and violating us, so we're not going to go through with this. And they're just trying to do that. That's why they're out here sort of running this public relations campaign to get people angry. Jan, the obvious thing here is we told you so. We told you so. Obviously, everyone's saying we told you so. I want to make it clear, we shouldn't even have to have told them so.
No.
This, even before we're worried about hackers and people using the data inappropriately, this is a violation of the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. This abridges my right to free speech. I shouldn't have to prove to anyone on the internet that I am of a certain age so that I can communicate with other people freely. It certainly cannot be due to a law, which this is what it is in these cases. Here in Ohio, this is how it's going for me, because we have this law in Ohio now. I have to prove to Blue Sky and all these other things that I am of a certain age so I can DM people or see certain content. And yeah, that's adult content or whatever, but that is also a violation of the First Amendment. Who obviously we should care about being hacked, but that is so far down the line of we don't need to worry about that. The original law is a violation. It's incredibly frustrating. Of course, we're not in a situation where it's obvious that if this were to go to the Supreme Court, that it's going to get denied. It's going to get repealed. So it's troublesome. But in the past, a law like this never would have been able to survive because it's so clearly a violation. And people could say, "What about the children?" And we'll say, yes, that stinks. We got to try to protect children, and parents should take responsibility. Absolutely. But we can't use kids as a reason to abridge our right to free expression as it's protected in the First Amendment. I'm sorry to sound like a history professor or whatever.
No.
But it's very frustrating to me, especially as someone clearly affected by this living in one of these states, Jan.
Yes. Grub, if you're a history professor, I'll be the ethnic studies professor for the day. Everyone,
okay.
Please remember to pass your scantrons to the left. Yeah, Grub, while I understand a lot of people use VPNs for to protect their privacy, I don't think they should have to jump through so many hoops.
I'm juggling things, yeah.
Just to be able to DM someone, or even, hey, you know what? I'm not yucking any yums. You shouldn't have to fire up a VPN to go look at your adult content. You should just be able to fire that up whenever you want.
And that's the idea, is they want to make it put so many hurdles up so they can. That's really what it's about, is to punish people, especially women who make a living on OnlyFans. It's let's make it so difficult for these people to make a living that they kind of can't do it anymore, and then we'll feel good because we have punished women once again. It's almost always that, and it's definitely that here again. I am continuously frustrated by this. I don't necessarily see. It feels like these laws are only going to get more draconian and more prevalent, and they'll continue to use the kids as an excuse. And we'll all know that if they actually cared about kids, they would be paying for their goddamn lunches. They would be doing a million other things to actually care for kids. So as always, the proof is in the pudding. We know what you really care about, and it's hurting people, women, people, the LGBTQ community, people who have find alternative ways to find a community online and maybe make a living from them. Yeah, it's disgusting, and I continue to be very mad about it. Former ZeniMax Online devs form Sackbird Studios. This is from Sophie McAvoy at GamesIndustry.biz. This is a cool one, Jan. ZeniMax Online people were laid off as part of that recent Microsoft thing, and they were working on a project called Blackbird, which was going to be their Destiny, that Phil Spencer himself apparently was hey, this is cool. This is awesome. You guys are fired.
Phil, thanks.
Yeah, so they have moved on to form a new studio that is Sackbird. Who the people who worked on Blackbird are now Sackbird, and it's they got a cool little logo of a bird with a shoulder bindle or whatever it's called, a little shoulder sack. And they're going to start making a game again. Yeah, exactly. They're going to start making a game again, and hopefully, I think the concern would be, can you find funding for something like this? But these are people that have proven that they are capable of producing the kinds of games that people do like. If they were working on a cool Destiny and I think this is some of the former leads from Elder Scrolls Online, an MMO that ran for a very long time and has a lot of passionate fans because they really kind of figured that stuff out. That probably is the kind of thing that still can get funding, I think. So hopefully they're able to execute on an idea that was lost under Microsoft.
Yeah, I remember Phil talking about this game, and then I believe we even covered that this crew unfortunately got laid off. So I'm happy that they were able to collect themselves, get together, and try to get back up on their feet to form Sackbird Studios.
That's right.
Good name.
Yeah, it's clever. I like that. And again, I like the logo a lot. Another company's going to get sued, Jan.
Really?
There's an Animal Crossing-like that's, I know, right? In video games, another Animal Crossing-like has showed up on PlayStation Store, and it looks just like Animal Crossing, called Animal Village Online. Apparently, it's going to come out in 2027.
Anime Village.
Oh, thank you, Anime Village. My brain just completed that as Animal Village. Anime Village Online, although that straight up looks like an Animal Crossing character. This is... yeah, right. It's Wisnu Sertaman, who is probably just an individual. It's like, hey, I want to make an Animal Crossing and put it out on PlayStation. And it's like, it's just the Breaking Bad, Walt in a car screaming meme. They're like, no, don't do it. They're gonna kill you. I think this is clearly just a straight ripoff in terms of visual style and maybe gameplay.
Yeah.
I'm always like, there's some times where it's so blatant that, yeah, you should expect to get the hammer brought down upon you by Nintendo's lawyers. And this is Nintendo again. In this case, this game's aping Animal Crossing. But what's really wrong with someone just making a game based on a game they really like? Now, sure, maybe you can make it look a little bit different. I guess we'll see if Nintendo actually does do something about this. But what they did to Pal World,
oh boy,
it does kind of spell doom for this. But maybe Pal World was like getting a lot of headlines. It was considered higher quality than maybe some other ripoffs. If this game is just sort of like a middling thing that's easy for people to ignore, maybe they just let it go. I don't know, Jan. What do you think?
I don't.
It's Nintendo.
Yeah, exactly, Grub. I don't exactly see them letting it go, especially with how active Nintendo of America's legal team has been as of late.
Yeah.
Just because, you got to give them something to do. I hope that this doesn't immediately bode well for other farming-like games. And then we're going to see Nintendo saying, we came up with a pitchfork and planting seeds in the ground. What are you talking about?
Uh-huh.
So,
yep. Growing apples is now exclusive to Nintendo. You can't do that in any other game.
It is very easy to not do this, Scrub.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's very easy to not plagiarize something. It is very easy to... For, I don't know, college kids, if you're going to use fucking AI to write an essay, don't be stupid about it. But if you are going to copy art as something that inspires you, maybe don't make it look exactly like the thing that you like.
You can honestly just put a few spins on it, and people will be like, look, it's different enough. Now, I think some people would argue that's what Pal World did. I think there's many of us who are like, I don't know, I'm standing a little bit further back, and back here, the mosaic sort of comes together and looks exactly like Pokemon. But whatever, we can debate that. And I just think, you put a few extra changes on there, and you have the deniability, and they just don't have that right now with the way this thing looks. And again, for audio listeners, there's an image here of a character that just, if you looked at it, you would say that's an Animal Crossing character. It's
right.
One of the villagers.
Like, if you were to show this to the gimmicks, I'm assuming they would think, like, oh, it's the Animal Crossing game.
Yep. And yeah, you're right. It's just so easy to avoid that and avoid problems. And that's certainly what a lawyer would tell you is like, well, we just don't do this because that's the safest thing here. And, you could just make a game look different. And that's an easy way to avoid this problem. All right. Last couple of stories here. Nintendo is adding new games to NSO, including a Mario game that has never been seen outside of Japan, at least officially. Let's see here. This includes Bubsy in Claws Encounters of the Third Kind.
I'm so sorry, Grub. I'm so sorry.
Super Nintendo. Thank you. I appreciate that. You appreciate you saying that. Also, Fatal Fury Special, another Super Nintendo game from 1994. And then Mario and Wario, which was a 1993 Super Famicom game, never released in the United States. I think it requires the mouse input. It's like the Mario Paint mouse. And you can actually play that using the mouse mode with Switch 2 for the first time. It looks like a neat little Lemmings game. You're like, I think Wario has set up these like traps, and you play as like a little fairy character using the mouse cursor, and you help Mario, who's got like a bag on his head, to like get through these. Yeah, or no, he's got that's right, a Yoshi shell on his head, to get through these puzzles without like falling on spikes and things like that, while also collecting all the goodies. So, yeah, I've never really touched this. I remember hearing about it. In my head, I always conflated it with Wario's Woods or like Bomberman and Wario. And for some reason, it was always in that same space in my head. It's like, oh yeah, no, this was a wholly different game than that. So yeah, interesting to see this. I like that Nintendo continues to release every other game that was only in Japan other than Mother 3. That's a funny bit that they're doing.
Grub, I gotta ask, is Mario dumb?
Yeah. Yeah, he's not. I'm not quite a himbo. There's got to be another word, but yeah, he's an airhead for sure.
Got it. He's like a Goku.
He's a Goku. Yeah, he's a ditz. Yes. Goku's a ditz. Yes, absolutely. Sony Interactive Entertainment and AMD, and this is Mark Cerny and Jack Hyun, I'm going to say, discuss shared vision for future of play. This is from Sal Romano at Gamatsu, and here's your excuse to start thinking about the PlayStation 6, everybody. Basically, they had a conversation. They talked about how their relationship is really strong, and it's going to continue to be strong in the future, and how they're working together on technologies, including machine learning and neural rendering. So this is basically like their versions of DLSS. There's Fidelity FX Super Resolution, that's FSR, and then there's PSSR. They're kind of combining those things that the Sony announced a while back. They're like not necessarily deprecating PSSR, but certainly de-emphasizing it, because they're like, well, we're just going to take our stuff and help AMD make FSR better. Well, they're continuing to do that, and they want to focus on FSR and make it even better going forward. They're also working on ray tracing together, and that includes new specific ray tracing cores for new hardware that almost certainly will be in the PlayStation 6. This is good news because we could see how far dedicated ray tracing hardware can go on something like the Switch 2, where it's like, oh, the Switch 2 can handle some of these games that have baked-in ray tracing better than some of these other consoles, these more powerful consoles, because it just knows how to calculate the ray tracing stuff a little bit more efficiently. And that will be a huge difference, because a lot more games are going to rely more on ray tracing going forward. We've already seen a couple games get rid of like baked lighting in favor of only having ray tracing, so they can't work any other way. And as always, it's worth pointing out, ray tracing maybe doesn't make a huge difference to you visually when you're looking at a game. You're like, game lighting always look good. Developers are beginning to rely on it because it does make their job often much easier. And then, let's see, universal compression. A new universal compression system compresses all GPU data, not just textures, dramatically reducing bandwidth use and enabling more detail, higher frame rates, and greater efficiency with lower power consumption. Basically, they're just trying to find new ways to make the GPUs that they already have better, and the future GPUs even better than that. And then they talked about, hey, a future console in a few years' time. That phrase was said by Mark Cerny himself. Yeah, a few years' time. Do you think he means that exactly literally? And that means in 2028, we're going to see the PlayStation 6?
I can't think of a year past 2026, Grub. So hearing 2028 terrifies me. And also hearing the word PS6 also terrifies me. But
I don't even want to. Yep.
I honestly, I do see them introducing another PS5 Pro refresh and making a big deal out of that before we get the PS6.
I think they'll keep refreshing it. Yeah, they're doing one like right now. I don't know if they'll make a big deal about it, but they will certainly. I think they will like renew their PS5 Pro marketing at some point.
Sure. Yes.
And be like, hey, you should definitely be getting this thing, and to make it feel important. So when the PS6 is here, the PS5 Pro can really just sit right below the PS6 as another more affordable option, while they continue to make it cheaper to build the PS5 Pro. I'm with you on that. So, and that helps them extend it out to 2028 pretty easily.
Yeah,
because there is not clamoring for a PS6 right now. Certainly, people are just like, hey, make the PS5 feel worth it first, and then we could start talking about the PS6. And that's going to be a different measure for everybody, like what makes the PS5 worth it. But I think the majority of people are still feeling it hasn't necessarily been worth it, at least compared to the way they felt about a PS4 just a few years ago.
Yeah, and I honestly, I'm in that camp as well, Grub, and I hope that feeling changes soon, if not in the next year, maybe the next year and a half. I hope the Wolverine game hits.
Yes, I think it will.
And then who knows what else may be down the pipeline. I am really liking Ghost of Yotei, but I understand also that a big, massive open world game like that may not be for everyone either. And they may want something more streamlined or something fairly linear, kind of like how God of War was, kind of like how Astrobot is.
Yep. I think that they will kind of just keep charging forward with their strategy of how they're making games, and that we probably will end up feeling like, man, the PS5 was good hardware and something was just off, and it was the games that really made a system feel special never quite fully materialized. But then we'll look back and be like, actually, there was a ton of great stuff. And that's just where gaming's at now. And part of me is like, okay, I'm ready to accept that here. Just let's push off the PS6 at least 3 years, at least to 2028.
Grub, do you think when we get to that point where we are getting a PS6, do you think we will get Last of Us remasters?
I mean, Maybe. Listen, that is one where they have found a vein in popular culture and mainstream popular culture that they're always going to want to have something to like put out around the time of the shows. So some sort of reissue probably will continue to happen in one form or another. Maybe it'll be a little bit more low key, a little bit more subtle than just another remake. But I bet they find some way of doing it. All right.
Real quick, Grub. Someone in chat points out the missing sauce is Japan studio, and yes,
yeah, that's a huge part of it for sure.
I just want something weird. I just want something wacky. Just give me like an off the wall idea.
Even like just a game that feels more akin to Astro, but like a Gravity Rush 3 would like hit really hard right now, I think, for a lot of people.
Give me a game where you are just like those sticky hands that you get from like the bobble machines.
Okay. That actually sounds awesome. I love those things. Put that physics in a game, I'll be real happy. All right, let's do the poll question. This is from yesterday. Have you ever paid $20 or more for a skin in a game? 23% said yes. 77% said no. 23% is still quite a bit of people, and that's hey, guess what? You're all the whales. That's how it works. Yeah, so there's a reason that they keep doing this. It's and I know it's they would make more money if they sold more skins at a lower price to more people, but they're like, yeah, but we're having a good time selling these things for $20, and more people keep doing that every day. So yeah, of course we talked about this because 2XKO has that skin pack that was $100 or more. It has more than just 3 skins in there, but that's the only way to get these 3 very popular skins. So yeah, this is just going to keep happening more frequently. Jan, we have a new poll question. Let's just get to that right now. Who is your favorite video game golfer? Is it Wario, Craig Stadler, Tiger Woods, or the Golf Story Boy? We'll get the results. Talk about it on Game Us Mornings here tomorrow on Giant Bomb. Speaking of Giant Bomb, what do we have going on?
Grub, right after this, we're going to get the ball rolling and continue Golf Week with more celebrations by playing Nintendo Switch Sports Golf.
That's right.
Yes. And then after that, we're going to have the voicemail dump truck featuring our dear friend Jordan Olds from Albummer. And then tomorrow, more Game Us Mornings, Mario Golf, and then a UPF as well. Lots of golf shenanigans.
Lots of golf shenanigans here as we do Golf Week in one of the busiest release seasons of the year because we're smart. I'll find other ways to keep up with games. I was telling people to this morning, I've been doing these morning golf game streams. And I've done some other morning streams. I'm going to shift that maybe for the rest of the year to catch-up streams. Let's catch up on some games. Silent Hill F, I think, is maybe first up since October. Might be a good move. Or maybe that Caput Mortem game. I've heard good things about that. It's pretty quick. And someone said it's like a scary game that plays like Jurassic Park Trespasser. So,
okay.
That sounds good to me. All right, we did what's coming up. We did the other poll question. So, Gian, I think we just say thank you for hanging out with me today and talking about video games, man. I really appreciate it.
Can I say something real quick, Grub?
Oh, please. I would love it.
Folks, the world is a mess out there. People up at the top want to keep crunching down and break your spirit. So please continue to stick up for your neighbors, whether they be part of the LGBTQ community, other minorities. Stick up for them, because they will stick up for you. And pretty much these people at the top, they don't care. So care about the people around you, whether that be your in-person neighbors, your coworkers, your friends, your family, these online communities. And I'm always super jazzed to see how much our community at Giant Bomb cares about these issues, cares about each other. And sure, we'll call each other out when we have to. But at the end of the day, I do feel like we have a very supportive and awesome community here. So again, stick up for your friends. Stick up for your neighbors.
Well said, Jan. Our haters are our escalators. We stand on them, and they take us higher. Everybody, let's keep at it. Let's have each other's backs. Thank you, Jan. Thank you for hanging out with me today and talk about video games, man. Let's keep at it. Let's do it again next week. We'll do it again tomorrow here on Giant Bomb. You are the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.
Mwah.